going to be looking at how we use ChatGPT, and the use case specifically is for script writing and storyboarding for our company explainer video. So with that, I'm going to like to explain the process to start. Like any creative process, it began with understanding the requirements as well as our vision and our scope. From there, it was all about ideation and making sure that our value proposition alignment for the video was aligned with our ICP as well as their jobs to be done. We focused on their needs plus their pains. From there, we gathered all of the appropriate documents. Now, in this case, it was our brand guidelines as well as mapping out what those initial thoughts looked like, just in a process document or a sticky note document that said, here is each of the steps that we're thinking about in that process. From there, it was about designing and creating our prompt, and we'll take a look at how we structure our prompt here in just a moment. But this was about thinking about the role, the task that we wanted the AI to complete, as well as our desired outcomes. From there, it was a matter of engaging in the prompting, and this was a back and forth. There's that review and the refinement, and the way that we actually structure our prompts, it asks the AI, or we ask the AI to ask us questions. And so that provides a better quality of output and a higher quality of first draft. And so once everything was ready, it was then ready to be sent off to our creative team. So thinking about our prompt, and this here is the prompt that we used. So we'll break this down into a couple different pieces. The first piece is around the role, the task, and the desired outcome, or in this case, the format. So what we've done here is we've provided, as an expert copywriter, your task is and the output that we're looking for. The next piece was giving it specific details around the length of video script that we were looking for, as well as who our ICP was and what their need was. From there, we turned around and we talked about we're going to do this in steps. So we're going to actually provide it with a prompt to ask it to summarize what it understands. And instead of me trying to create a comprehensive task list and being in a position that I have to think about, well, it needs to do this, then it needs to do that, I actually have it summarize what I've provided it and have it create its own task list. From there, we're then in a position that we can turn around and go through the actual creation. Once we've done that, we've created that first draft, I have it change roles. And so you see here it now becomes a expert editor, and using a chain of thought or a chain of action prompt, we have it complete 3 to 5 rounds of revision before presenting the second working draft. And I'll show you in just a moment here what that looks like and how it pauses at each round to receive feedback, iterate, and focus on key areas. And then finally we get to the final stage, which is now being able to take everything we've created in that script and start the storyboarding process. And we'll actually show you both our first and second draft of the storyboarding images that were created, all done inside of ChatGPT. The entire workflow from start to finish was about 45 minutes. So, this is a massive time saving for myself as a solopreneur or working as part of a small team now. And so thinking about the quality of output, really good overall. I rated it an 8 out of 10. The challenges I had were with the quality of some of the storyboarding elements. It didn't do a great job of hitting those diversification prompts that I was looking for. And then, of course, usability was scored at a 9 out of 10. So thinking about the feedback that I received from my creative team member, the first time I did this with no AI assistance, I got out a 4 out of 10, and it was a, hey, good job, but we're going to need you to try that again. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual interaction here with the AI. So I'm using ChatGPT 4.0 as the model for this demonstration. What I've done is I've provided that initial prompt that we looked at. I've also provided that walkthrough, just my notes, as well as our brand guidelines, so it has that for reference. We see here that the first thing it does is it creates its own task list, and it asks some clarifying questions, as well as creates a summary of the key messages from the documents, as well as the brand guidelines. So with that, I then go ahead and I provide answers to those key questions, and I just number them in alignment with the questions as they're asked to me. I provide those answers back. From there, we have that initial draft, and I look through this and I go, it's good. It's good, but you know what? There's a little bit here that I'd like you to work on. And so it actually asks me for feedback after each draft. That's part of that prompt that we've structured. And it says, yes, I'm good with this. It does align with my overall vision, but you know what? For this section number 9, can we add a little bit more detail around lean change management, as that's the framework we use to facilitate the change experience. And so with that, it goes ahead and it creates that second draft for us. And we go through, yeah, this is good. Again, there's those feedback questions. Now we're into the third and final draft. And at this point, I've reviewed it. I'm very happy with the quality of output. As a first working point, I'm going to take this and polish it myself on my own time. But in terms of that first draft, and looking at this compared to the quality of output that I generated on my first attempt at a script, that was about 7 minutes, with the goal of this being about 1 minute and 30. So I was over by a magnitude of too much. With this, I was able to take my thoughts, I was able to give it some initial direction, and I've created a good working version. And as the person who's going to be doing the voiceover, this gives me a script that's aligned with how I speak, how I present, and the language and tone that I use. So finally, I'm good with all of that. I've given it approval. We're then going to move on to the storyboarding aspect. And so instead of me trying to create the prompts for the storyboarding process of creating its own prompts, and so I give it the direction. Here's the feedback that I'd like you to focus on for storyboarding. Let's stick to brand colors. Let's try and keep it in modern office settings. A lot of focus on email technology. These are some of our common pain points that we hear from our customers, so we wanted to incorporate that. From there, we go through and it gives us a prompt for key visuals and how it actually would structure the information when we get to the creation stage. Now, for the purpose of ease, I did all of the creation just here in one chat. However, we do experiment and we do make use of Midjourney on a regular basis. So it would just be a matter of taking this information and now moving it across into Midjourney for initial ideation if you wanted to use something that was a little bit more advanced and gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of creative output. For the purpose of today and working with my animator, this was good. He was good with having just some basic imagery that he could then start to understand the vision, the concept, and we can always refine and iterate on this as necessary. Now, thinking about this, I looked at this and I said, okay, let's go ahead and create those mock-ups, please. It's given me 8 versions. Yeah, not bad, or 10 scenes. They weren't bad, but I had some feedback, so I went ahead and I provided that feedback. And we see here that it's given me an updated version. Yeah, this is good. This is more aligned with what I'm thinking. Bright, vibrant, and upbeat. So overall, this is a process that, I was up to 4 hours of time invested in my first manual attempt with no assistance. I then took and I reworked that, reapproached it using ChatGPT. Total time invested was about 45 minutes. It actually took me more time to create the presentation today. Thanks so much. Have a great day. All the best.